And I'm going to show you the cards that we're going to make tonight. And these were on display at my open house. And so this is the stamp set Hand-Penned Petals, which is right here. I'm going to teach you all about the dies tonight and the stamp set. Thank you, Nancy. Page 101, ladies, for Etched in Nature. All right, that's possibly in non-orderable status, okay? Good to see you too, Jeanne. So these are our cards this evening. And my Hostess Club, ladies, I've got clubs coming up. I've got one Saturday morning, Tuesday night, and next Friday morning. And ladies, we're going to be creating this card in our club, all right? So now you can get a close-up of this, okay? I love this suite, and actually, Tina, I loved it from the beginning. And the paper is gorgeous. Sue is right. It is absolutely breathtaking. So we're gonna look at the paper next, okay? We'll make this one first tonight. I'm gonna teach you some tricks on stamping this and how to use the dies. And then this will be our second card tonight, okay? Hi, Tina. I'm so glad you like the cards, Aunt Ethel. Thank you. Thank you, Gail. All right, so let's look at paper first. This is called, I believe it's called Hand-Penned Petals, but hang on, I'm gonna go back in my book. If you do have your annual book, we're on 104 and 105, and it is called Hand-Penned Designer Paper, okay? And so I'm gonna show that to you first, and let me zoom out here. All right. So here's one of our first pieces, and you're gonna find that this stack of paper coordinates beautifully with the new in colors. And that's probably why I'm drawn to it, is because I was able to create cards with it right away. Because, you know, for open house, I created cards with just the in colors. That was kind of our focus. And so I love this paper because I could use it with the in colors. Here's another piece. This is coordinates with the Blushing Bride. I'll go ahead now and zoom in a bit, and hopefully you can get a better look at that. And look at this piece of paper. Isn't that lovely? It coordinates with Misty Moonlight and Mint Macaron. And then I've got this piece of paper that we're using tonight. And if you flip it over, you have this design. Now this is the last piece I have of it, okay? So I don't have the other piece to flip over, but I love that. And then here's another lovely piece. And I also think So Saffron coordinates with this. And then here is the opposite of it. And this kind of has like a little waves design. And then here we are again. We've got Garden Green and Mint Macaron. And honestly, Evening Evergreen goes beautifully with this, as well as Soft Succulent, either one. So here's this side. And then the opposite side looks like this. And you can see that it's kind of distressed in places. So it's designed that way. Now this is a lovely piece. Look at the daisies. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And I don't know what flower this is, so I need my flower lovers to tell me what that is, okay? Tina, I think I'm ordering about 2 packs tomorrow. I mean, this stuff is drop dead gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. Yeah, you can find the paper on page 131. Thank you, Laura. Hi, Denise. Welcome. Look at the opposite side of that paper. So you could use Highland Heather. You can use our Fresh Freesia, Gorgeous Grape, any of those. Hello, Carol from South Carolina. That's weird for me to say, Carol. So, Carol, I hope you're going to make it to club on Saturday. I can't remember what you told me. All right, there's our colors. Aren't they just beautiful? How pretty is that? Really pretty paper. And we get to use some of that this evening. And so there it is. I'm going to move this out of the way. And let's see, let's look at the stamp set. You can tell in the stamp set that this flower right here, you can stamp on top of this one. This flower here, I believe is for this, no, this one is for that, and these two little ones are for these two little ones. And this one, I'm trying to remember where that one goes. It may be here. I'm thinking it goes right there, or this one you could use here. But we'll stamp with it tonight and then we'll figure it out. These are leaves here and here, and they're used for the leaves on the flowers. And this right here can be used on top of this flower, and this is used here. I'd love to know what this flower is. Maybe it's not really a flower. I don't know. We've got 4 greetings. We've got thanks, anything is possible, congratulations, and feel better, friend. And it's called Hand-Penned Petals. Now, when you open it up, I actually have the dies in here with my stamps. Oh, and this gives me an opportunity to show you this. Do you see this drawing on the stamp insert? From now on, our photopolymer stamps will have an insert with the stamped image. And that is actually where we will put the stamps. So it's a great way for us to organize the stamps. Isn't that cool? And this is also great because when you go to close your stamp case, you can look and say, uh-oh, I'm missing this one. Gotta find it before I put the stamp set away. So this will help us with missing pieces. So these are the dies right over here. And of course, you know I'm gonna show you what they really look like. And so now I'll zoom in on this. And these are called the Pinned Flowers dies, okay? And there's one die that cuts out the shape of the flower, just the shape. So it cuts out the shape of this flower, and then it'll also cut out the shape of this flower, okay? Now you're going to find that there are some outlines for this particular flower. So you can cut this one out and cut this out, the background, and then look how you can layer the two together, okay? And so here I am showing you how you can layer these to create a flower, but then you can also stamp it and then cut it out, okay? Now next week, we're gonna dive in to doing this. I'm gonna show you how to add an adhesive sheet and how to peel it off and how to layer it with the flower image here, okay? So you'll learn all about that next week. We'll do the easier ones tonight. Now also with the die set, you're going to find some leaves here that you can use. Here's another leaf. You get this extra flower. You get 3 of these flowers, 2 of this one, and you also get this one. And you can actually stamp this flower, and I forgot to stamp that before cutting it out. But there is a stamped image that goes with that, okay? And then you get this nice scallop edge die right here, which we're actually gonna use tonight. So you might want to jot down some measurements as we get closer to that second card, all right? But that's kind of what the dies look like, and I wanted you to see that. And so we're going to work on hand-pinned petals tonight and next week, okay? All right, so before we go any farther, I am going to look back through here. There were a couple of questions. So let me just see. I wish they could put the images on the die folders. Wouldn't that be nice, Carol? That'll be coming in a few years, I'm sure, Carol. Absolutely. But yeah, I do like that poster look, Gail. It helps us so that we don't lose our stamp sets. Leslie, I was able to order you the bees before they went on back order, okay? So for any of my ladies who ordered the bees on Saturday at open house, your orders were filled, okay? You don't have to worry, your bees will come, okay? They're not on back order. Thank you, Kay. All right, so I think we're ready to tackle our first card. And something that you are going to notice, and that is I have used some new dies. We've got a new scallop rectangle, and then we have this scalloped rectangle with stitching. Okay, so let me show you where that comes from, because that's not part of the hand-penned petals. Okay, so those come from Scalloped Contours dies. And you're gonna find the bundle on page, I don't have page, nope, page 98. You'll find the dies on 158, okay? Now, these have become my very, very favorites. I think I use them for every single card on Saturday for open house. So over the next month or so, you're gonna see this a lot. I'm using it a ton. And I love these flowers. I use those a lot for open house as well. And then we've got this beautiful scalloped edge. So you're gonna see this in the cards tonight, or actually in both cards. So I wanted you to be aware of where these dies are coming from, okay? So you might want to mark your catalog. I love these dies, Sue. They're amazing. I mean, if I could pick one tool in the catalog, I think it would be this one, because I'm seeing a lot of mileage out of this. And you know, when I look at stamp sets and dies, I want to get the most mileage out of it I can. I don't want it to sit on the shelf. And I feel like that's going to happen with this. We're going to see this a lot, and we're going to be able to use it a lot. Okay, so let's get to our cards. Excuse my reach. All right. We're going to start with a fresh Freesia card base, okay? And this is one of our new end colors. I love it. I know, Lori, aren't they amazing? I've used them for like every card. I should be getting sick of it, and I'm not. All right. So this is just a standard card, ladies, all right? It measures 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then I scored it on the 8.5 inch side. I scored it at 4 1/4, okay? Now, we're going to be doing some stamping. We'll do that first, and then we'll get all our cutting done, okay? So let's go ahead and let's stamp our flower. And that's the big thing that I want to show you tonight. I want you to learn how to stamp this. First of all, look at the stamped images. The stamps do not fill the spaces, all right? See how that flower does not fill that space? And that's okay. And I know I've said that a lot lately. I feel like the trend in card making right now, or at least with Stampin' Up stamps, is our images do not, the solid images do not fill the entire area. So I think it kind of gives it that watercolor look. So that's what we're going after tonight. And we're going to use this sheet of Whisper White cardstock. And we're going to stamp that flower. All right. Now this flower is pretty big. Okay. And I'm using block, let's see, my block letter is block E. Okay. And then I'm going to use black Memento ink. Now, one of the nice things about this stamp set is I can actually stamp, or I could even color with my new Stampin' Blends, all right? So that's also a possibility. I mean, you could even do both. You could stamp the flowers and color the leaves with your Stampin' Blends. So you've got some options, and you could even do a watercolor. You could stamp this on watercolor paper and actually watercolor the stamp. All right, so it's inked up with the black Memento ink. I'm gonna flip it over now and stamp it. And I'm using a pad because it's a photopolymer stamp and I just don't have that cushioning, okay? All right, so there we go. Our first stamped image is done. Now the next thing we're gonna stamp is our sentiment. And we're gonna stamp that. It's gonna say, feel better soon. And I don't know about you, but I need some get well cards right now, ladies. I need some, and I also need some thank you notes. So I've got to get busy. All right, so feel better soon. We're gonna cut out this shape. This is what it looks like. That will be cut out with, hang on one second and I'll show you. It can be cut out with the Tasteful Labels dies, and that's what we're going to use. And we're going to use the smaller die right here for cutting that out, okay? And by the way, I've been using these a lot lately. They're starting to become a staple for me. We've had them about a year. They were in the annual catalog last year, okay? So that is stamped. And then I think the rest is cut. And so that's what we'll do next. I'm gonna move everything out of the way. I'm gonna zoom out because we're going to use our standard size Stamp and Cut Emboss machine. What a word, right? All right, I know some Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are calling it the Big Boss. And then the little one is the Mini Boss. So maybe I'll have to incorporate that. All right, so we're cutting dies and we need number 1 and number 2. And then we need a number 3 plate. And then I'm just gonna lay this here and let me get that die right here. And I'm gonna put it about right there, okay? This circle is actually bigger than you think it is. And let's see, are we gonna cut the flower now? Let's go ahead. I think we can get the flower in here. Let's do the flower this way, okay? We'll get them both in here and save us a little time. All right, I've got to find the actual die. All right. So this is the actual die that we're gonna use. These are the bigger leaves right here. And so we're just gonna lay that right on top. Oh, and by the way, did you notice that I have not stamped the flower? So there are 2 ways to stamp the flower. You can stamp it and then cut it out, or you can cut it out and then finish the stamping. I've done it both ways. It works both ways. So we're just gonna go with it since I forgot to stamp it. All right, and we'll stamp that in a bit. So we'll go ahead now and we're gonna roll this through, kind of keeping my hand on that so it doesn't move. All right. And then here is our Feel Better Soon, right there. And this is our flower that we've got to finish stamping. And I'm actually gonna put the die away just so that I don't lose it. That's like my greatest fear, losing these dies because it has happened. All right, so the next thing we're gonna cut is going to be our scalloped die. So hang tight and let me find the die. Aha. All right, hang on 1 second. I've actually got to run across the room and get the die. Didn't I tell you that I use these a ton? Okay, I am back and I apologize for that. All right, so this is the scallop that we're going to use, that scalloped rectangle die. And then we're going to add this plate. All right, and I'll try and even them up a bit. And then we're going to roll this through. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. Sorry about shaking the table. Okay. And so then this comes out, and we're going to have to clean up all these little pieces. So now that's done. And we have one more piece to cut. And that's going to be our little white piece. And I think I used the wrong piece for stamping that flower. Hang tight. Yep, let me grab a piece of paper. Okay, I'm sorry, I had grabbed the wrong piece of paper. So to go grab another piece. And this is the last piece for this card. So it is, you know, some very, very simple cuts, okay? Nothing crazy, all right? Okay, and I'll move this out of the way. I'm gonna bring this back in. And let's see. Let's bring my flower back in right here. I'll put it about right here. I'm gonna zoom in, okay? All right. And if I zoom in, then you can see me stamping these smaller pieces. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and we're gonna use fresh freesia. And let me find the right stamp here. This is the actual stamp that we're going to use for the bigger flower, okay? I think I need to turn that around. All right. Now, here we are. We're about to stamp it. I'm going to lay that stamped image right on top. I see that y'all have a little bit of a reflection there, so it's kind of hard for you to see. And that's my first flower stamped. Now, when I show you closer, that's how it turns out, okay? All right. Now, our next one is going to be a smaller flower, and that one's going to go about right there. And that one's going to also be in fresh freesia. And this is the stamp, okay? And then I'm going to stamp that right on top, that flower. Okay? And so now this is the look that I'm going to get with that one. All right. And let's see here. And then I've got an even smaller flower. See that one? And that one's going to also be in fresh freesia. And there's that one, okay? So that kind of gives you an idea of what this stamped image looks like. Now we're gonna move on to Pale Papaya. By the way, did you ladies do the in color quiz that's on my Facebook page? Make sure you do that. I was shocked. I'm Pale Papaya. That's my color. I thought I'd be Soft Succulent, which is green, which is my favorite color. All right, so now we've got two little flowers here, and we're gonna ink these up, okay? And we're gonna stamp these flowers here. We're inking in Pale Papaya. All right? And again, I will hold this up close so that you can see this when I'm done. So now it looks like this, All right, so you get the idea that it doesn't really fill those spaces, but honestly, it's still very, very pretty. I really like the look. I'm gonna bring out Soft Succulent, and now we're gonna do leaves, okay? All right, this is the larger leaf. So I'm gonna start with this one, and let's see. I just wanna make sure that I get it turned the right way. So that's the right way there, and that's my leaf. And also, if you feel that it's too dark, you can certainly stamp off before actually stamping again. Now, this is the smaller leaf right here. Oh, you were, Gail, you were Fresh Freesia. Tina was Soft Succulent. I love it, love it. That's our small one. And again, that's the other leaf. I'm just stamping right in those little spaces. Now this time I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to show you what it looks like if you decide to stamp off. And we'll make these leaves a little bit lighter. All right? And so this is what our flower looks like once it's stamped. You could definitely use your blender pen and finish the flower if you desire. Absolutely, Carol. Carol, are you referring to the Stampin' Blend, our new markers? I bet you are. So you could definitely do that with their new markers. You could color this entire flower with their new Stampin' Blends. You wouldn't even have to stamp. So you've got lots of options when it comes to creating these cards. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to put our card together, and we're going to start with the Soft Succulent and the Fresh Freesia card base. I'm going to finish popping out these little guys. Okay, they're all popped out. Let me put those in the trash. And then we're actually going to be taping the Soft Succulent to the Fresh Freesia card base. All right, so here we go. And we'll turn, give it a little more adhesive. And then we're going to center this. I'm probably too close now, right? I need to zoom the camera back out. All right. Let me zoom out just a tad. All right. Oh, you were talking about the blender pen. Absolutely, you could do that. Yeah, I know. I think that's what's so nice about this set is because it's versatile. You can kind of decide how you want to do the flowers. All right, so we're gonna pop up the designer paper. I didn't realize I was running out of dimensionals over here. Hopefully I have some more. So this designer paper I popped up, you know what? I need to measure this for you. All right, I have not done that. And this kind of has a funny measurement. Let's see. It is 3 1/4 inches by 4 3/8 of an inch. All right, so that's your measurement for your designer paper. Then you're going to position this. You're going to center this, okay? Just like that. And then our next piece, we're going to pop it up. I know you're surprised, but we'll pop that one up too. I'm getting rid of these little scraps here. We'll pop up that piece. So how many of you noticed the hand pen set in your book? Did it pop out at you? All right, this also gets popped up, okay? And you guessed it, I'm popping up the words. I mean, not the words, the flowers. All right, so I'm done with that. And now I get to start on a new sheet of dimensionals. All right. Now, a couple of things about this card that you might find interesting. First of all, this is featured in the May tutorial for the Demo Design Dream Team, okay? Yes, Carol, I like the way you think. So this is the card I designed for the tutorial this month. So you actually, when you purchase $35 in product in my online store or with me personally, then I send you the May tutorial. And many of you earned it on Saturday, so you already have it. So this is featured in that tutorial. So that's the first thing I'm going to tell you about it. The second thing is I'll be heading out on the incentive trip a week from Saturday. We're going to Maui, Hawaii, which I'll tell you all about next week. And this is my incentive trip swap. And so it's already made. I've got them already bagged and ready to go for swapping. Thank you, Mary Kay. I thought it was a really fun card. And it's not hard, ladies. All right, let's add some bling. And I'm going to add in color bling, okay? And I'm almost out of my bedazzlements here. So this is their in color embellishments. You get 100 of them. They're 20 of each color. It's in the share box. So this is our first card, ladies. Now, where is my Peggy? Our Winka Stella girl. Because I really think this needs some Stella. Don't you, girls? Okay, I was just taking a sip of water, not margarita. Thank you, Jody. You're going to get to make it this weekend. Thank you so much. I'm going to use Winka Stella, and then I'm going to go in here, and we're going to just make these flowers and leaves just a glimmer. Okay. All right. And I'm doing this quickly. If I had a little more time. And you can definitely go back and fill these in with your Stampin' Blends. You could use your blender pen to fill up the space if you want. All right, and that is our first card. Now, can we see the shimmer? Sometimes that's really hard to say. Oh, thank you, Jody. That means so much. Thank you so much. This is our Hostess Club card. Absolutely. Isn't this fun? I love this card. All right, and it's in the May tutorial. So when you shop with me this month, you can get the tutorial. It's got 16 different card ideas. And they're all with the new catalog. So all new stuff, all right? So the tutorial that I'm speaking of is the May tutorial. I'm part of the Demo Design Dream Team. So you're gonna get 16 projects when you shop with me in my online store. I know, wait till Tuesday, Nancy. Isn't this fun? Thank you so much. I'm so glad you all like it. This is one of my original designs. All right. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to our second card. We're going to give this one away. Okay. So we'll do that in just a little bit. I'm going to get my next card ready. Let me get all my dies and things that I'm going to need. Let's see. I'm going to put this back. I don't think I'm going to need this one anymore. Later, I'll go out and I will go back and I'll pop out these little pieces. So I'll get that done later. This we are going to use again. Just love those dies. Okay. So now this is the card we're going to make now, and I'm going to show you how to stamp this flower. All right, this flower is also in the same stamp set, okay? All right, but I do want to give you some measurements because this can be a little tricky. we're going to be cutting this ruffled edge, and so, or scalloped edge, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to be using this die right here. That's part of the set. And then we're going to use this die, okay? Right there. Okay, so let's do our stamping. We've got two things we're going to stamp here. One of them, I keep moving stuff around, I'm sorry. One of them is going to be our flower. So that's what we're going to stamp first. And again, it's the same block. It's block E. And we're going to use our black memento ink. Now, this is definitely the ink you want to use when you're coloring with Stampin' Blends, okay? And now we have Stampin' Blends and all the new in colors. I mean, how awesome is that? That's pretty awesome. We're going to stamp this. And that's our beautiful flower. You know what? We'll go ahead and finish stamping, okay? I actually remembered to stamp before cutting out. Oh, cool, Carol. Carol is soft succulent. Y'all have got to take the in color quiz. It's the coolest. All right, let's see here. All right, so we're gonna start with this image this time, okay? And I'm using Misty Moonlight. I don't want it to be too heavy. So let me show you the card, okay? And then this is the flower image that we've inked up. I'm actually gonna just stamp off. I don't want it super heavy. And then I'm gonna line this up just like that, all right? Now you're gonna notice that I'm actually off a little bit, all right? It's kind of hard to sit down and stamp over this. I usually stamp standing up so I can see it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little more fill in, all right? Right there. Now let's see, our next stamp we're going to need is this flower, which is this one. So this is actually the same flower image that I used on the other flower. So you can mix and match these flower images. Does that make sense? We're gonna do this one with the pale papaya. I'm gonna stamp that one just like that. Okay. I know, isn't this fun? I like this flower too. Now we're gonna do this in soft succulent, and I think, did I forget? No, I did not forget. Okay, so with this flowered image, ladies, it does not have the stem, all right? We'll use the leaves again. So I'm gonna show you a little technique with bringing in your Stampin' Blends, okay? So Cindy is also soft succulent. Very good. All right, so I'm back to the leaves now. I'm gonna stamp off, make them a lighter leaf, and put that right there. Again, I'm stamping off. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And there's one more here. And then I'm going to use that little leaf again, stamp off, and do that one like that, okay? Sometimes you can turn the leaves upside down and still stamp in that space. Now we need to fill in the stem, and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Blend for that. Okay, so I'm going to use my darker Stampin' Blend right here, and I'm going to kind of do this area here. I'm going to shade in this. I'm going to bring in that lighter color in just a second. All right. And then I'm bringing in my lighter soft succulent. And I'm coloring that stem. All right, and then if I want to fill in the leaves, I can. All right, actually, I kind of like that. So I'm going to finish filling these leaves in. Haven't done this before. So we're kind of winging it just to see if we like it. All right, and I'll do that too. Okay, so that's with the new soft succulent Stampin' Blends, okay? So that's our flower that we're going to cut out, okay? Now we have some words that we need to take care of, and this says anything is possible. And I'm gonna use Misty Moonlight, which is last year's in color. And I'm going to stamp that right along here at the bottom. Okay. I'm going to move all these blocks out of the way because we've got to make space for our machine. Okay, so let's do some measurements for these two pieces of paper, okay? The designer paper, and hopefully it's going to work out fine and it'll be correct. The designer paper needs to measure about 3.5 inches wide by 5.25 inches. Okay, 5.25 inches. And then you're going to take, this is mint macaron, by the way, not soft succulent. This should measure about 4 1/8 inches. Now that's important because we're going to take that scallop die and we're going to trim along this edge, okay? So 4 1/8 and 5.25 inches, all right? And now we're going to bring our machine over here to cut out our flower and our edging. Okay. So let's do our flower first. And as you can see, it lines up very well with the die. Just like that. Okay. And then we're going to roll that through. Wow, that is so smooth. We're going to pop this out. And we've got our flower right there. And now comes our tricky part. I'm going to move this in a little bit more for you to see. We're going to take this die and see if I can straighten things up a bit. Okay. We're going to put this die right along here. Okay. And I'm going to lay this on top. And I think that'll work pretty good. Yep, should. And we're going to roll this on through, okay? And hopefully we're going to get that ruffled edge. That's the mission anyway, right? This is what is left over. And then this is our ruffled edge, okay? All right, so now we'll go back to our card. Our card base is Misty Moonlight. And, oh good, Sonia, your evergreen evening. Yay, evening evergreen. Awesome. All right, again, ladies, this is 8.5 inches. This is 5.5. And we've scored it at 4.25 inches, okay? We're going to add the mint macaron layer right here. And we'll do that with our Stampin' Seal. And we're going to center this right along here, okay? All right, so that's our layer. Then we're going to add our designer paper. Now we're going to test this out and just make sure that we've got this, that this will fit, and it does. And I'll probably just put it right up against this edge right here, okay? I know I love the stitching, Cindy, in the dies, and I've noticed that a lot with this year's dies. There's a lot, we have a lot of dies now that have stitching. So it's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna add this. Love this paper. Put this one on your list, hand-pinned petal. All right, now you know what I'm gonna do? I am actually going to center this a little bit. This gets real tricky as far as figuring out the measurements on this paper. It depends on how far you go in and cut that ruffled edge. So you can see that both of mine are different. This one, the designer paper, is right on the edge or on top of the macaron, and this one I've got a little border. All right, so no big deal. It's just a little bit hard to measure with that scalloped edge. I guess you could cut the scalloped edge and then trim the other side. We're gonna pop this up. Again, this is from the scalloped contour dies that we've talked about all evening. This is going right here, like that, like so. And then we're gonna pop up our beautiful flowers. All right. Get these dimensionals off. Yay, Laura, you're fresh freesia. That's awesome. All right, and we'll put this one about there. We're gonna add some bling. And again, we're gonna use the in color bling. Let's see what I've got left. Not too much. Let's see, whoops. I'll put one there. That's, I think that's Evening Evergreen bling. And I'll put, whoops, that adhesive did not come off with that one, I don't think. Let's do this again. There we go. All right, let's add a little wink of Stella, and then we'll see who's taking this card home tonight, okay? Yay, Nancy, you're pale papaya. That's me, Nancy. That's what I am. Okay, so if you are purchasing my share box, I've created the private Facebook group today, and you'll have to go in and tell us what you are. You'll have to comment. Okay.